This is the current state of the app. Never mind about the missing icons at the bottom. I think there's some issue with React Native SVG or something else. I'm not sure, but yeah, we're gonna try fixing that. Maybe it's just Expo. Maybe something's like wrong. I have no idea what it could be. But yeah, if you remember last time on the last episode, streaming episode, we worked on this little chart right here, which is the reports chart. If you remember, we worked on the yearly chart, which displayed all of the months. Actually, we started off with the weekly chart, if I remember. There we go. Yeah, last week. Yeah, we started on the weekly chart, which is this one that you're looking at right now. You have Monday through Sunday, and all of the expenses in that, within that week. Then we moved on to the yearly chart, which we basically displayed 12 bars for each of the months, right? So we aggregated all of the expenses within that are within the same month. We summed up all of the amounts of those expenses and basically came up with the value. And off the camera, what I actually did is finish the monthly chart. As you can see, it's still new, like the file is still new, it's still not pushed. So hold on just a second. There we go. So yeah, what I did is, aside from the expenses, receiving the expenses from the props, we're also receiving the dates. That's the general idea. And of course, using the date, we can calculate the number of days within that month, right? We'll try to see, maybe this is not gonna be a date, maybe it's going to be like a start and end type of thing, but yeah, we'll see. Basically, what we have here is only the chart itself. It's not like the whole screen, right? So we have the number of days, and if we pass, for example, I don't know, the current date, it's going to get the create a new date out of that one, get the next month, set this to 0, which is the day field. And by doing get date, we basically have the last day of that month, right? So that's how we can get the number of days in a month. And using the number of days in a month, we can come up with the default values array, right? So for example, we create an empty array with the length of the number of days in the month, so 31 in our case, right? And then we iterate over it and we create a simple object like a day, which is I plus 1, because we have I as a 0, so day, we just like want to move the whole, the whole range plus 1, and then the total is 0. So this is our base data, and then using the reduce function, we take this as the base and loop through all of the expenses, right? So we figure out where is the existing, like if there is like an existing day which matches this from the default values, and it's pretty much always the case. But yeah, for example, if there is an existing, just like sum it up, right? Get the existing total, add the expense amount on top of it, and then just return the accumulated. This is the ACC, is like the accumulated values. I'm not sure this ever runs. I think it's safe to remove this, because right, we have the default values and the days are going to go from 1 to 31, for example. But yeah, just in case, like I think we had a different approach previously, and this just gets like, this is technical theft, basically just gets carried away. But yeah, that's how we fill up the data for the grouped expenses. And now using the, where was it? Using the number of days in a month. Actually, no, yeah, we just use the grouped expenses. Yeah, I thought we used the number of days in a month, but yeah, we just use the grouped expenses to map out all of the groups, right? So basically all of the months, no, all the days within that particular month. And we render the background, we render the bar. As you can see, this is the little background, the gray bar. This is the white bar that's on top of the gray bar, right? And then for the legend at the bottom, if the index is like divisible by 5, then we'll show the label that's like on the bottom. In this case, it's like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, but let's go to the report screen. I have an issue here. I'm trying to do something. Yeah, I'll just comment this out, and I will set the recurrence to be monthly, so we can see the actual chart. Okay, reports, come on. Report screen. Oh, it crashed. Yeah. I have no idea why. Quit unexpectedly, that's alright, ignore that. Unhandled promise rejection, there's like a font, TTF. It doesn't exist. We don't use any custom fonts. Alright, we'll do Yarn iOS again and see what happens like with a clean start. There's also the lazy view pager, which is a custom implementation. Maybe that's causing it, but we'll see. That's like the next thing that I've added and I want to show you. Index 22 beyond bounds for empty array. Okay, that's the actual error. Is there a way to... Funny enough, because I was just working on this app and now it's not working. But because I'm streaming now, everything's different, right? Doesn't matter. Okay, I'm just gonna pull out this whole view block. There we go. Here, I'm just gonna cut it, add it here. Go up and fix the indentation. And I'll just copy, like, comment out the lazy view pager. There we go. Yeah. Okay, so this is the monthly chart. And as you can see, the labels at the bottom, like on every 5, right? We have the 1, 6, 11, 16, 21, 26, 31, right? That's how we got the... That's how we got them set up. And let's go back. And basically that's it, yeah. And then we have the 0, we have the average expense, and we have the max value, which are on the left side. And the line is for the average. So in this case, for example, 150 is like the average expense for this period. So that's why we draw a line at the 150 value. And yeah, that is the monthly chart. The idea is that when we start changing these, the recurrency, we want to see different charts. So if we, let me just fix this up. Actually, there we go. There's the view that holds the charts. If the recurrence is set to weekly, we want to render the weekly chart, right? If the recurrence is set to monthly, we want to render the monthly chart, and so on. So that's the general idea. I'm not sure if it works because I haven't tested it yet, but yeah, we are going to be doing that today. And one more thing that I wanted to showcase, but it seems like it's not working right now. I have no idea why. Yeah, there we go. It's just like it's crashing. But it used to work. 2 views with the same name. RNC view pager. Yeah, well, we only got 1 view. Doesn't matter. All right, let's open up Expo again and reload. See, it crashed again, but we don't get any errors. Maybe, I don't know, maybe it's this. This is like from a previous. Let's see if the text is actually the issue in this case. Actually, no. These are warnings, the unhandled promise rejection, and I need to figure out why that happens. But it's not really like an object at index subscript. Index 22 beyond bounds for empty array. Is this the empty array? Shouldn't be, because I have set the number of pages by default to like 53, so this should not be an empty array. Yeah. Not sure if we're talking about... Wait, hold on. Let me open the weekly charts. Okay, so we can see that the weekly chart gets rendered. Yeah. Okay. Maybe it was like the monthly chart. Yeah, maybe it was the monthly charts. But I'm still working towards that, okay? The second thing that I also add, like aside from developing the monthly chart, is the view pager here. And this is like a custom implementation of the view pager, which is an Expo component. But I actually needed it to be lazy, meaning I don't want to load all 53 pages at the same time, because yeah, you can definitely feel the lag, you know, the load that 53 pages in a view pager can cause. So that's why I did some research, and a user on a GitHub issue actually provided their own lazy view pager implementation. So I just copied it from there, but actually I made some changes, because it used the old package. It used a deprecated package for the pager view. This is like the new one, and also the on page selected event was also different, so I needed to change that as well. But yeah, what it basically does is like it renders conditionally, not conditionally like directly, but it's pretty smart about how many pages. There we go. You get the data and then you basically slice it with the offsets. So you render this many pages from the whole data, right? And the offset is basically being calculated on a... Where was it now? It was calculated based on the buffer that you provide. Compute offset. There's the buffer. There's the length of the whole data. And page is, I think, the current page, the initial page. So yeah, that's how they compute the offsets to figure out how many pages need to be rendered. Right, the idea is not to render all 32 pages, for example. We just render 3. And I'm sorry, view pager means that we can do this now. So we can swipe to the left and to the right to basically jump between the periods, right? So for example, if I'm looking at the weekly period, like weekly recurrence, this is current, like this is the current week. This is supposed to be last week, and you know, the week before that, and that's how we can navigate between the periods. If we choose the monthly, Then we'll see the monthly charts and we'll see the monthly data, which means, for example, the first page or the last page, because that's like the flow. The last page would be this month, the current month, and then we go back, we basically see the we basically see last month, and so on and so on. And for the yearly recurrence, we don't actually allow jumping through years. We just freeze everything on 1 year. That's like how we decided to go, like keep it only like a year, because I think it's like more, yeah, things like there could be like a lot of data to be jumping between these years. But yeah, that is the view pager implementation, and also keeping this lazy, like rendering only a handful amount of pages and then dynamically switching out as you know, as we swipe left and right. That is the best way to go, because yeah, if we go and render all 53 pages, I think that, I don't know, the phone's gonna catch on fire. So yeah, that is the lazy view pager. The render item is going to give us the number of page. In the item, which is unknown, we need to see that. So it's not just a page, we can deconstruct this and grab whatever we want with this. I think only the item index is okay, but it's never used. Okay, yeah, we'll check this out. Let's actually add it here. Item index 52. That is the item index. See what the actual item is. It's an unknown. It's probably, I don't know. And we also have the visible page. And if the index was 52, visible page is 52, 51, 50. Alright, so it's pretty much the same. Yeah, we'll just grab the index. We don't need the item. The item is useful if you're rendering a page for every entry from a database or something like that, right? Okay, but yeah, I started working on a format date range file. Was it here? There we go. The format date range. So this file, the idea with this file, with this with this function is to grab the start and the end date and then the recurrence, and then get the label. So we're looking to, let me just dismiss this. Oh, come on. So we are looking to, yeah, that's the issue right there. It's an empty, there we go. The idea is that previously we had the September, 18th, I think, until September like 25th or something like that. The idea is to generate that range based on what page we're looking at. Right, so the format date range will take the start date, the end date, and also what is the periods. Everything CS asks, what VS Code is this? It looks awesome. Oh yeah, it's a pretty new one. The color theme is One Hunter theme. One Hunter. Let me share that. Was that share thingy? Copy. Alright, let's try this. That's not a link. But yeah, there we go. It's like, you can see the icon and the name. You can try it out. Yeah, so the format date range accepts the start and the end, and it basically uses the datefns function format to put a certain format, right? We don't want to overcomplicate it. We just want to, like, here's the recurrence, here's like the range. Give me the string, right? So all of this returns a string. Then we have the calculate range function, which takes in the period, the selected periods, monthly, weekly, or yearly. And then it also takes the period index, which in our case, is the item index thingy. I'm not sure if we should do it here. I think we should like put these out and track the current page using a state variable. But we'll see. Basically, we pass on the periods and the period index. And then based on what the period is, we calculate the start and the end dates. And then we return these as like an object. So the output of this function is pretty much the input to this function, and additionally we pass the periods. Right? So we can have the range, calculate the range using the start and end. We can also format that little string that we want. So I'm trying to use that right now. I don't think we should like, let's actually try doing that here inside of the render item. I don't think we should be doing that here. Where is it? Nope. I'm missing. All right, yeah. One more of these, yeah. Okay, so let's scroll up. There we go, right? So we can get the range. Calculate range. We want the period, which we have it as a recurrence. And we also want the index, which is the item index. So this is going to give us the start date and the end date, right? Then we can have the period label, for example. And we can do format date range. Let's import that, and we also want to pass the recurrence. So we have the period label here. We can go ahead and add it here. So from 3rd of January until 9th of January. This is so not right, but 27th until the 2nd, that sounds about right, because right now we are 29th and we're like the end of the view pages. So if we go left, these should basically decrease, like we need to go to the past. Okay, so we need to figure something out. The range is here. We got the period index. Well, of course, yeah. I am subtracting. And because we're talking about weekly, the index is 0, so it's... Okay, so maybe I need to... First day of the week is like the previous Monday. And previous Monday... What was the date on the previous Monday? That was 26th, right? So it should start at the 26th. And it should end on the 1st. So this period is like -1. We need to take care of that. We're basically missing this, but if we go back, we have 18th until 24th. Okay, let me just double check on the calendar. 18th to 24th. Yeah, these are 1 day off, like -1 day. Okay, so days to subtract, I guess -1 would work in this case. Let's reload. 26th until, what the hell, next Sunday? No. Oh, it's actually all right. The end. Not really. I'm not gonna use the next Sunday, because as you can see, it's like 31st. That is not the end of this week. It's the 1st. Sunday is actually the 1st. So why don't we do, instead of doing subtract, maybe we want to do add, or like add days. And the add days, yeah, can do add days, add 7 days to the start. And I'm calculating the start, basically just figuring out where, on what day is the previous Monday. Let's like log it out. First day of this week. It says 26th of December. Let me check that. 26th is like the previous Monday, so that's correct. Okay, now we're good, as you can see. Yeah, so 26 is the first day of this week, the Monday. We want to do the days to subtract, and we basically, for every, like, we're talking about weeks, we want to multiply the period index. So if, for example, period index is right now 0, we're not actually subtracting any values, right? We're gonna stick with this Monday, so that would be the start, right? The start date would be this Monday minus 0 days in this case, but it's actually pretty okay. Let's see. 26th is the first day of this week. Let's see, days to subtract. Minus 343. That doesn't look good. Come on. Yeah. That means the period index is going crazy right now. Yeah. 49 to 52. Okay. That is so not okay. Item index. No. Oh, okay. Yeah. I got it. So we basically want to do not really. The number of pages minus item index. Okay, so what are we looking at now? Days to subtract. Period is 1. Yeah. Okay. And then we want to use -1 because we want to... Oh, wait, what is this? Yeah. -1 because we don't want to subtract... Yeah, we don't want to subtract days if we're looking at the last... If we're looking at the last page, right? We're like, we want to just see the current week or current month. So we don't want to do any subtraction over there. Okay, so this is like the lazy loading thing. We have the third page from from right to left, the second, the first. Not really, it's like +1. So period index is 0 now. And this is what we're looking at. Period index is 0, right? And the first day of this week, if this is 0, we have -1. We're not going to be doing the -1 in this case, because that was the issue. There we go. From 26th until 2nd of January. And that's pretty much... So that it shouldn't be 2nd of January, I think. 26 is Monday, and yeah. Add days. Maybe we should use next Sunday instead of odd days. So from the start, what is the next Sunday date? That should give us the firsts. There we go. So from 26th until the 1st. That is this week, the current week. And then we go from the 2nd until the 8th. You see that? And that is not good. So why are we looking? Let me clear it out and just do. I'm gonna get the item index, and aside from the period label, I'm gonna show that one. So 48, and we do 52, not 52, but the number of pages minus item index minus 1. That is the calculation. So this is 4 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, 1 week ago, and this is 0 weeks ago, or like this is the current week. Okay, so 1 week ago. Why is it 2nd of January until the 8th? That is like next week. Maybe that's the minus playing a huge role here. There we go. Okay, so this week 26th until the 1st. Then we got 19th until 25th. Let's confirm that. Exactly 19th until the 25th. Going back again, 12th until 18th, and that's pretty much it, yeah. I think it's safe to say that we got it right. At least for like the weekly. Yes, at least for the weekly. And the good thing about this right now is that we have the start and the end, and we can use these, the start and the end, to filter our expenses. And I even started working on I even started working on a function that pretty much does it. We get all the expenses, we get the current period, and we get the current index. Although we do calculate range over here, so we pretty much have the expenses. We can calculate them. There we go, we can see them here. Yeah. Yeah, but let's try to get this out, because I don't want, because if we do this here, it's going to be included for every item, right? This is in a loop. We don't want to do this here. We'll find a way to, we'll basically control the current page from the outside and have these calculations here. So I'm just gonna put them here. There's the item index. It doesn't really exist right now, but we'll do page and set page. And we wanna do the last one. So I don't know, 53 by default. We have a use effect right here. Actually, no, I'm gonna do -1 or a 0. I'm gonna do a 0 here. I'm also gonna add the page, and for example, if that page is 0, no. Okay. I'm gonna keep this 0. I'm going to invert this. So for example, if the number of pages is like 53, I want to keep this to 0. But every time the page changes here, so we can do, there's the initial page, on page selected, right? I'm not gonna do a set page. I'm gonna get the new page. Basically set the new page, but actually do the opposite. I'll do this. And instead of item index, it's actually new page. We're not gonna be needing the item index in this case. And also we can roll back all the way down. One of these. Actually, there we go. Okay, so what's up with this? calculate range, gets the periods and the index number. Okay, and that is actually the page now. That's called the page now. Okay. Oh, there we go. So, calculated. No, it's actually okay. It's actually all right. All right. So we got 26th until the 1st. That seems okay. Going back, 19th, 25th. See there? There's like a little lag right now. Yeah. There is a little lag. So why don't we put the period index, like the label calculation, and see what happens. If it's any faster. 26th. No, it's actually the same, right? Yeah. So we'll just revert, we'll keep this clear, and we'll, there we go. Period label. Now, because the view pager has all of the pages inside here, but the period label is being calculated once, so these pages don't even matter right now. I mean, they just provide the animation and the current period index, which helps us calculate, yeah, it helps us calculate all the stuff we need. But yeah, let's move on, and then we can see like if we're gonna do any optimizations. We got the period label, which is pretty cool. Next thing we want to do is basically get the expenses. And when we get the expenses, actually we need to work on the expenses file here. When we get this done, we can populate the charts and the list as well. Right now we have dummy data inside. Scroll down, you'll see. And also we need to calculate these, like the average per day and like the total. But as you can see, expenses, it just renders a hard-coded list of expenses. That is not cool. It's not something that we want to do. But it helped us. There we go. Groups as well. Today and yesterday and all those things. Yeah. Yeah, we wanna have some real expenses, and we have the ad, so maybe we should be doing that instead. Yeah. I'm going to push these changes. So we got the view pager implementation plus the monthly chart plus some date and expenses utilities. So I'm gonna push these changes and actually move to implementing Realm. So let me bring up a web browser. We're gonna do realm.io. This is the library that we're gonna use as a local database. We're not gonna be implementing any dynamic backend stuff. We just want to keep everything local. Okay, so React Native SDK, Realm DB locally, exactly. Install the SDK, version 44 to use Realm with Expo, upgrades to 44. Okay, that's all right. What version are we using? 47, which is good. So just install Realm, and that's it. Oh, no, wait a minute. Compatibility charts. Expo 47. We are in Expo 47. Okay, that's good. But this... When you work with Expo, there's no iOS and pod install and all these things. Let's see, Expo install Realm. Maybe that is the Expo CLI. Expo template TS. Okay. It's a to-do list. Want to check out this template because it pretty much has the code inside. Nope. Okay. Expo install Realm. I just want to install Realm. That's it. I'm not creating a new app. You know what? I'm just gonna do it. npx expo install realm. If you're a React Native professional, please let me know what's the difference between expo install and like yarn add, because I can see it does yarn add. Are there like any differences between expo install and yarn add, or is it pretty much the same? All right, so while this is going, Realm DB. This is a nifty library for a local database. It's pretty much Mongo, but it comes with its own driver. The modal definition is pretty cool as well. So let's do a quick start. There's our schema. As you can see, we can have all of these. Basically, yeah, we can define our object models, right? Our DB tables in such a way with the name and the properties inside. Expo install automatically finds a compatible version of the project, but Yarn will just add it. Okay, that's cool. So it's not really, you know, the same, but it's cool. It's smarter. I like that. Thanks. Yeah, so we define the schema like so, and this will be our expenses. And do we have anything else? Let's check our modals again. I've forgotten about my modals. Categories. Yeah, exactly. Categories. We have the ID, we have the color, we have the name, right? We'll define schema, a schema for expenses and categories. We can open a realm and export that. And then we have, for example, the realm.write. It'll open up our, you know, editing. Hey Yasser, how's it going? I'm doing great, thank you. Yeah, we are installing RealmDB into our React Native app. But yeah, this is how we can create, you know, new entities and put them in a local DB and save them. That's pretty much it. Modifying an object, deleting an object. There's watching a collection, device sync. We're not gonna be using the device sync. But yeah, that's pretty much it. So we just want to see. It's still going on. Yeah, we just want to start working on you know, on our schemas, and then we'll see And we'll see how on realm existing with React. Okay. A realm contexts. All right, there we go. So there's a different thing. So we can wrap our app with a realm context, so we have access to it. But this is a different package, if I'm not wrong. Realm React is an NPM package that provides an easy-to-use API to perform common Realm operations, such as querying or writing a Realm. Boilerplate code, such as creating your own listeners and state management. Okay. Realm React provides an access to a Realm database through a set of hooks that update React state when the Realm data changes. This means that components using these hooks will render on any change any day. Okay, you know that this is actually pretty okay. We can use this. I'm not sure if we should have both packages installed or just this one. For dependencies, it has the Realm common. So I guess this is just yeah, I guess this is just a wrapper or like a helper, the Realm React thingy. Yeah, we still install Realm, but we also want to do Realm React because I feel like it's much easier. I'm just gonna go yarn add Realm and Realm React. We checked it out. The latest versions are okay with the latest versions of Expo, so we should be good. Yasir, for working with a DB, or if I be more precise, NoSQL DB, shouldn't you be handling with a backend? Yeah, but not necessarily. Realm actually allows us to create a local DB that's going to sit in our phone's memory, right? So we don't need a backend, not necessarily. If we want to synchronize the data between multiple devices, for example, I might have like an iPhone and an iPad, or you know, things like that, then we need some sort of a backend in order to do that handshake between the devices and, you know, sync them up. But when you introduce device sync, you also need authentication. So if I want to back my expenses up in the cloud, I need to, you know, the backend needs to know who I am and like where, like how do we put them. Makes more sense to use local storage if you're not requiring users to register, but if you do, then maybe a remote backend would be better. Yeah, there is no authentication in the app. Anyways, it's just like plug and play. We just open the app and start adding, you know, expenses and categories. So the idea was to be pretty simple, you know, without needing a backend. Just keep everything locally. We don't do any API calls here. So yeah, this is taking pretty long. In the meantime, I think we can start working on defining our Realm objects. We have the types, but we probably are going to delete these because we're not going to be needing them, or at least like rework them to be classes instead of those types, because we need to extend from Realm objects. Yeah, so okay. Yeah. Create a Realm context. Given configuration. The context contains the context provider and also pre-built hooks, which is pretty cool. This is the schema in, you know, in using the Realm React package. Oh, wait a minute, is this generated? No. Define an object schema using a JavaScript class. Okay, so we define that. The task class below contains the following: a generate method that returns a task insertion object that automatically sets the computed values, such as the ID and the created ad. That is a general. Okay, and the created ad. Okay, that's cool. This insertion can be forwarded to realm.create to perform an insertion, right? So generate takes up the description, it adds it here, but these are the defaults. Okay. Is this something that we need to do? Like manually add the description is going to be passed through the arguments? What if there's like... All right, we'll see. And then we have a schema property that defines this object schema. Read the define a realm object schema documentation to learn more. But yeah, basically, what is the name? What is the primary key underscore ID? We already got that. And what are the properties? Description is here. There we go. Is complete. It's a boolean. By default, it's false, of course. And there's a created at, which is a date. That's pretty much it. Finally, create a realm configuration object and set its schema property to the classes you created. So an array of classes. In our case, we'll have the categories and the expenses classes after we create them like this. And then we use the create realm contexts to basically obtain the provider and the hooks. Then we go to the top level of our application. Yes, the top layer of the application. Import the realm provider from the contexts, from this export right here, and we can wrap our app, our whole app, with the realm provider. And that's pretty much it. We can dynamically update the configuration. We don't actually need to do that. Yeah, there is like if you have authentication in your app, you can do that, but we don't, so we're gonna be chilling on this one. Now, using the provider hooks from the context, we also get the use realm, use query, and use object. I like this. If we do use realm, we're pretty much it. Yeah, we get the realm objects, and we can use the realm object for writing. There's the use callback. This is from React, I believe. Realm.write, realm.create, everything's here. That's awesome. All right, there we go. The realm.create call invokes the task.generates. That, okay. Okay. All right, so the generate is basically an opinion. Yeah, this is like a helper method that we don't necessarily need to have, but it's a nice to have, right? So this is, yeah, by any means, generate, I don't think it's required because we manually call this outside, and whatever we want to pass here, yeah, we define. Okay, it's much clearer now. I thought the generate was being like called under the hood, for example, like the schema would be used. Okay. What else do we have? Here's the use object. So from the task class, give me the task that has this ID. And it basically does the query for you. And there's also the use query task, which means give me all of the tasks, yeah? And there's probably a second argument on this one that would allow us to do any where stuff. I think they're using generate as like a constructor. Yeah, probably. I mean, it's... From what I can see here, we just basically return an object. So we don't need to do this manually. Because this is always gonna be like... This is always gonna be a new object ID, and this is always gonna be false, and this is always gonna be a new date, right? We don't really need to do this by hand every time. We just create a static method to return this object and then pass any dynamic values that we want them to be included. And then the result from this generate comes in as the second argument of the create function, right? So we could even do this inline if we wanted to, but the generate method is just a helper one. All right, yeah, that's looking cool. We are still loading, but I think we're ready to start implementing our model. So I'm gonna create a new folder at the top level. called models, and then do expense. Actually, category, because the expense model uses the category model. We're gonna have a relation here, so we'll just do category first. .ts export class category that extends the realm dot. Let's actually import realm first. Realm dot object. Scroll up. Realm dot object. Okay, we gotta have an ID. That's for sure. And created at, yeah. Let me open the category. We have the ID, color, and name. All right, we'll just do color and name. That's about it. So there's no constructor. It has its own constructor inside, but we have the generate and the schema. I'm just gonna grab these and edit them out. So ID is okay. We don't have a description. We have the color, which is a string, and the name, which is a string. And I'm actually going to switch their places. There we go. So color and name. We don't have this, and that's about it, right? We have the ID, color, name, and no created at as well. Schema wise, the name is going to be a category. The primary key is going to be underscore ID. And then we have a color, which is a name, which is a string, sorry. And then we have a name, which is a string. So that's pretty much the schema. It's pretty, yeah, it's pretty easy. Okay, let's define the next one. It's going to be the expense. So category expense, the name expense, and the schema is going to be something else. So I'm going to add the type at the bottom so I can look at the fields. We have the ID, we have the amount, which is a number. We have the recurrence, which is a string. I implemented this with an enum, but enums, I'm not sure if they are persisted. That was a string enum. Let's just go with a string in this case. This is the, yeah, thing is, how are we going to keep this in the local database? That's the idea. We'll circle back. We have a date, we have a note, and we have a category. And now this category already is a different realm object, right? So let's try to implement, like import category from the same directory, which is the realm object. And then we'll see how can we, do we need to like link up and like build the relationships between expenses and, you know, the relation between the expense and category. We'll check that out. But for now, creating new expenses. We'll get the amounts. We'll get the recurrence, which is going to be a recurrence. There we go. We get the date, we get the string, we get category, and that's about it. So amount, recurrence, date, note, category. And this recurrence, if we do a toString, it's going to return the string representation. So we can pass recurrence.weekly, it's going to return the weekly string. So we'll do that right here. Dates, we're not gonna be doing that right now, like date dot, like new dates, because we manually set the date of the expenses. That's going to come from the arguments. All right, so I got this done as well. I'm gonna copy these and go here below. and we'll try to rework them. So everything after colon, we'll wrap it in a string and then we'll see. So amount number, this is probably going to be an integer, but let's check out the object schema documentation. Yeah, it's an integer. That's an integer. We have the string, date is with lowercase date, and now the category. Okay, let's see. Okay. Schemas. Relationships. There we go. Realm allows you to define explicit relationships between the types of object in an app. That's what we want. A relationship is an object property that references another Realm object type. Define relationships by setting the object's property to another object type in the property schema. Alright, so we have three primary types: one-to-one, one-to-many, and inverse relationship. What is the inverse one? Object back to any other object that refers to it in a defined to one or too many relations. Okay, cool. In our case, we have a category and we have the expense. One category can map to many expenses, but not the other way around, right? So it's about, yeah, it's one to many. Okay. One person can have multiple dogs. That's all right. So we just do this. And that's it. Right? So in our case, the schema should be like this. It's actually one-to-one. Yeah. Looking at like from the expense lenses, it's one-to-one. But in reality, a lot of the expenses are going to point to the same category. Okay. And that's it, right? Too many relationship. Yeah, too many relationship means that an object is related to a specific way. To one. Now this can also be optional, as we can see. Let's define it as an optional then. Because it's going to allow us to also delete categories and have expenses with unknown categories as well. All right, the inverse relationship is basically, yeah, user has many tasks, does not automatically create the inverse relation. Task belongs to user. Yeah, if you don't specify the inverse relationship, okay, you need to run a separate query. Yeah, so basically, we only need this one. But if we wanted to also include the expenses within the category model, let me show you. Here, right, we don't actually keep the array of expenses that are connected to this category, right? We were to do the expenses. Yeah, basically do this. But the inverse relationship, let's see. The user has many tasks. All right, there we go. So we have like a linking objects. Object type is user, property tasks. Got it. So assignee is the property. It's like that's how we call it, but we'll call this expenses. We're going to be linking objects. The object type is going to be an expense. And the property is going to be now this is something else. But yeah, we get it. We don't actually need this. It's just like a demonstration. We don't actually need that. We are happy with just linking the category to the expense, and that's it. Okay, that's how we define the relationship. which is pretty cool. Let's move on with defining. Oh, wait a minute. Let's move on with defining the realm react thingy. This thing right here. Okay, so I'm just gonna create a new realm.ts and import these here. We need to make the config and basically export these schemas. We have the category from models and expenses. Yeah, these are our two models that we want to persist. We are creating the realm contexts here. We don't actually need realm up top. That's about it. So in our app tsx file, we can import the realm contexts from realm. We can obtain realm contexts. We can obtain the provider. There we go, the provider. And we have the navigation container. I'll just wrap everything in the, using the realm provider. So navigation container, there we go. Now we have a database, a config that knows about our models, and within our components and screens, because we have the provider, we can easily use the hooks to obtain everything. But this is still installing. So there's that. I feel like we want to try this, but we can't unless this actually gets installed. What can we do in the meantime? I guess we can try to pull, try to use the use query to obtain all, for example, the categories, right? In the category screen right here. Yeah. Let's go to the screens and go to the categories here. These categories, let's get rid of this guy. Okay. See that? This is how I obtain the categories. We don't actually want to do that. This is all local. Because we can do this and hit that button and it's not working out. See that? This SVG issue? Yeah. So we want to be doing this instead. How many times we need to jump? Once. Realm. There we go. And then we can obtain the use query. Exactly. We want to do use query and now categories. Not this. Categories equals use query. Nope. Not really. Category, but from the model. Not the type. The model. And I believe we should start getting rid of the type. Category. I don't know. X equals new category. X dot, we have the color, we have the name. Yeah, we don't actually need the types anymore. We can start refactoring everything to use the models. But this way, at least I remember this was the correct way to use the use query. Yeah, that's it. Use query and then you pass the class, so you have all of the tasks. In this case, it's a category, so we have all the categories. And whenever we want to set category using a new category, we want to obtain realm and then do that thing. Okay. So let's get a, I'm gonna put this at the top. Let's get an instance of realm. No, wait a minute. use realms here. We have our realm instance, and inside of the create category, yeah, we should do realm.write and realm.create. Right, so category, and then we'll do category.generate. Exactly. And what would we have? We have a new name and selected color. New name and selected color. That's it. And this setter can be deleted. This is a void. It's a callback. There's no, like, we can't really wait for it. So we'll just be optimistic and set the new name to an empty string and reset the selected color. Okay. Scrolling down, we have the underscore ID, not just ID. And this is an object ID, so we can do to a hex string. That's gonna work. And then also, again, this is a delete functionality, so we need to get this out. As we have like a create category, we are going to create a delete category. Exactly. We'll get the ID, and that ID is gonna be an object ID. And we wanna get the object ID type from realm, I guess. Object? No, that's a class. Wait, hold on. Let's open the category. Realm.bson. Yeah, there we go. Object ID. No, wait a minute. This is the... Here's the object ID I'm looking for. Where do we have this from? Oh, it's a class. Okay. Don't matter. We'll get the binary bson and do object ID like this. There we go. And then we need to do realm.write object for primary key. Give me the category. Is this the way? Object for primary key. Okay, so these are hooks, I believe. Yeah. What is the app provider? Authentication and sync. Yeah, we're not gonna be needing that. Okay. We can use the, you know, the hook. Probably, not probably, but definitely not here into this callback. So that's why we, you know, Copilot actually suggested to use the object for a primary key, so we can obtain the category and then like delete the category. That's better. Okay, so when we press, we want to delete the underscore ID category. And yeah, this has a trash icon, so we're good. It is like the confirmation icon. Okay, and we are out of errors. But the package is still not installed. That is crazy. I want to try out the app and like Realm and start adding stuff, you know. Oh man, alright. Alright, I guess we'll continue working blindly through this. Next up is the add screen, and inside of the add screen we have the last category field, which basically renders all of the categories. So we can select the transport, we can select shopping and whatnot, you know. So let's try to refactor that thing. Okay, so I'm going to import realm contexts from our top level realm. Categories. Hell to the nah. context. Use query. So these categories, we just want to do categories equals use query category, and make sure you get that from the modal, not from the type. Now we have the categories, and replace that, and then we have some issues at the bottom. There's the data, the underscore ID, key extractor. Okay, so this key extractor needs to return a unique key as a string, so we'll do to hex string. Beautiful, and we got no errors. Technically this should be okay if there was only a way for us to check it out at this moment, but no, we're gonna wait. Yeah, we're gonna wait. Okay, it is what it is. What else is there? We got the expenses here. Oh, actually, wait a minute. On the ad screen, when we submit an expense, we actually want to create a new expense. We should be importing the expenses type, but we're not. Oh, because this does nothing. Okay, there's only the selection, but let's actually create that. So submit expense, right? We have everything here, and if you're in a situation like we have react.useState for the amount, react.useState for the recurrence, react.useState for the date and the note and the category and all these things, right, for basically the whole form. Instead of like doing useState, 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 I think it's like people recommend using a reducer in this case, because it's much clearer. So they, instead of doing sets date, set note, you basically dispatch an action, and that's gonna set that for you, and you have one state object. From that state object, you can get all of the values. It's much clearer. But we'll, you know, circle back and refactor that sometime in the future, not now. We just want to go with the flow. So submit expense. We need instance of realm. So aside from use query, we'll also do use realm. We'll get our instance here. There we go. And then we can do realm.write, which opens a writing opportunity. There we go. We want to create an expense. We have the amount, we have the date. There we go. Note category and recurrences. Actually, we are going to do expense dot generate. There we go. And do that without the object. So there's the amount parse float date amount. Okay, so recurrence is the second argument. The recurrence. Oh, this is a string. Yeah. Let's not do that here. There we go. So recurrence, then we have the date, then we have the note, and the category is the last argument. We use the generate method, and that's pretty much it, right? Yeah. So we have our submit expense. If we scroll down, down, above the bottom sheet and all these things, we should see the submit expense. And when we on press, well, yeah, it was on press, we can do submit expense. So we can do that. And technically it looks like it should work. It looks like it should work. Not sure why we can't test this right here and right now. It's been going on. Is there like a verbose? Yeah, there is. Oh, that's crazy. Building fresh packages and that's it. Whew. Well, let's see. Yarn add realm stuck after building fresh packages. This has nothing to do with realm. Cache clean and install. We don't have our packages. Let's do a cache clean. And then we'll add realm and realm reacts. I don't know their versions, so we'll use the add instead of install. Hopefully it's gonna be unstuck. Okay. Yeah, sorry about this. I didn't anticipate it. It's gonna take a lot of time, like this much time. But I really wanna check out, you know, the app. Really curious to see if what we coded so far actually works. We're at the same spot again, building fresh packages. All right. We're gonna be moving on. If we hit the end of the stream and the packages are still not installed, then definitely is something wrong with it. But I'm gonna leave this and yeah, we'll check it out in, you know, the next stream if we don't actually make it on time. But let's continue because we have more than like a half an hour. Let's continue working on the app. We have the ad screen pretty much covered. We should be loading the categories. We should be pretty much okay in terms of everything. Let's go to the, come on now. We did the keyboard avoiding view, so you should be avoided. Oh my goodness. Now it doesn't work because I don't have the thing. Yeah, if I do reload, it's gone. Doesn't matter. All right, you know, we're gonna go to the expenses and pretty much we just need to use the use query and that's it. So import realm context from jump once and yell realm. Let's destructure the use query. We're not gonna be doing any writing here. right? And we have the groups here, and this thing is hard coded. We need to figure out a way to generate this type of data. We have one group, which is today, and then a list of expenses. Then we have another group, which is yesterday, and then we have a list of expenses, right? In the first view, we have total for this week, and this is a touchable opacity, which means we can click on it, but it doesn't actually show us anything. And then we have the total. The idea with this week, now this is still not completed. The idea with this touchable opacity is that, you know what, I'm gonna boot up Figma, not Figma actually, but didn't we have, oh man, it's not installed in this simulator. Hold on. I have Xcode here, and this is an iPhone 14 Pro. I'm just gonna run the native iOS version, the one that I worked on back in September. So I'm just gonna install it on this simulator to have it as like a reference, because that is fully built. We have that version fully built, and it also uses Realm. So we can use that as a reference of how things should look like. And also the build takes its own fair share of time. Okay, building. Oh yeah, sorry, you're not actually looking at the screen. This is what I'm waiting on. There's this is the same app. Oh, there we go. The same app, but built in Swift UI. Okay. There we go. Let's go and add some stuff. I don't know. Groceries. Get me groceries. Go to the ad. I don't know. $15. Bananas. That's about it. Submit expense. If we go here, yeah, we have this, the total, and also this should actually show a picker, just like we have here, right? When we click on this, we have the bottom sheet component. In our case for React Native, because I couldn't figure out how to display the menu like this. But yeah, when we click this, we should see today, this week, this month, and this year. Basically, it's just a filter of the data, right? And then based on that, we should filter out all of the expenses that we have from the use query, and feed them, like group them, and then feed them to the expenses lists right here. That's the general idea, and let's start working on it. We have to go blindly because we can't really run the app. But okay, we have the use query here. I'm going to do expenses, use query expense. That is the modal. These are all of the expenses. I also need a state variable for the recurrence. And none is pretty much okay. No, actually this week. Yeah. It has all the same values. Today, this week, month, and year. So without the none. Okay, but today, this week, this month, and this year. Okay, it can be a recurrence. We'll just not show a value for the first one, for the none actually. Okay, so now we need to do filtered expenses. Filter expenses. Like this, and now we can go to the utils and actually create that function. Filter expenses in period. We already started working on this, so we can actually reuse this. You know, that's way better. So we got the expenses, we got the recurrence, and for the index we'll just say 0 because we're looking at this something, right? So there we go, we have the filtered expenses here, and then we need to group them. I'm not sure if the filter expenses in periods function should be doing the grouping. Yeah, we're just gonna filter these expenses and return them as a flat array, but then we'll use a different methods to basically order them and filter them by date. And the ones that are today, instead of showing them, I don't know, 29th of December, the group name is gonna be today and yesterday, and then we have the dates. All right, so we have the list of expenses, and this expense is actually from the models. We have the recurrence, which will stay from the types. This is a class, this is an enum, so no type. We have the period index. We can calculate the range. So now we know the start and end, and now the idea is to return the filters. Filter out the expenses whose date is greater than or equal to the start, and the date is less than or equal to the end. Or we can also, instead of doing that, we can use the date FNS to do is before and after. Yeah. Is there like a between? There is no between, alright? That's alright. I believe this is gonna be okay. Just straight up comparisons. Yeah. Okay, so now we have a filtered list of expenses. Expenses dot values. Oh yeah. No. Wait. Use query. Let's actually see what's going on. With the use query, returns a collection of realm objects on a given type, like use object. It's either invoked with the object schema class or the modal name as a string. The use query method subscribes to updates. Okay, so that's good. But this flat list is not really an array. Filter or sort a list of tasks, read the crude read. Okay. Progress minutes. How do they do that? Okay, it's their own. And how do we do that? Sorting, filtering. Huh. This means that the progress minutes, if it's like between 1 or 10, including the 1, but this, we need to sort by date. I'm not sure how just concatenating that date here is it's gonna work. I don't think it's gonna work like that. Maybe it could, would have been cool. So we only get the, to let realm take care of the sorting instead of us, but okay. Alright, so use query returns. returns the realm.results of t. And the result thingy, yes, that's it, extends a collection of t. The collection is a read-only array, but the collection, does it have the values? No. I guess the read-only array then, and the read-only array extends the relative indexable which has the at. All right, you know, expenses dot to, there has to be or should we do array dot from? Yeah, actually, yeah, because let's see, use query, that is the results. It's a collection, and that collection, it's still a realm collection. Read-only array. So the read-only array is actually a JavaScript TypeScript type, so interface. So I believe that's gonna be okay. Can't know unless we tested it out, but it's doesn't seem that we're gonna do that in pretty soon. But okay. This works, right? We have the filtered expenses. Now we need another utility type to actually group expenses by day, just day, not date. We'll get a list of expenses like this. All right, let's see what Copilot has for us. The key is going to be a string, correct? And the value is going to be an array of expenses. That's also correct. For each of these expenses, give me the date and do the date string. Not really. We actually want to format this. There's a specific, man, this song is... There's a specific format, so we are going to use datefns format to do that. And let's actually open Xcode and see the format. So we're going to go to the expenses.swift file. In here we have the expenses list, group expenses by date. That's all right. We have the result, group span, expense, format date to short. And this thing right here checks for the year. If it's this year, then we have these formats. If it's from last year or like a different year, usually last year, then we also add the year as well. Okay, so we have the date. Is there like, is this year? There we go. Is this year? Beautiful. So the key, we're gonna let the key, if this date is this year, then we wanna do this format. Else we want the key to also include the year. And this is, we're not talking about like a full year. This could be like, I'm adding expenses on, I don't know, 1st of January 2023, and I want to see, and that's like Sunday, and I want to see this week, and this week has dates like 2022. In that case, we want to show them, right? So we also want to do, aside from is this year, is today, and is yesterday, is that, yeah, nice, right? So if there's a format, right, but if, for example, this date is today, I'm gonna do an else here. If it's today, the key is today. Correct. If it's yesterday, guess what the key is gonna be? Yesterday. If it's this year, don't include the year. Otherwise, bring everything. And that's it. That's how we get the key working. So if there is no entry for this key, for example, for today, if there is no entry, like create a new empty array and then push that expense into that field of the grouped expenses and then return them. This looks about right. That's how we group them by day, which is cool. Grouped expenses. Expenses by day, filtered expenses. And I feel we need to memorize this probably. Alright, there's like day and expenses. Alright, the format is, yeah, day and expenses. Okay, so we have an array of a day string expenses array. These kinds of objects, right? So this changes the things a bit. Here's the expense. We got the key, and instead of doing this now, actually, you know what? Let's actually continue doing this. I'm gonna undo these changes. I think it's gonna be easier if we group them like this and then just, you know, map out the groups and get the key and, you know. Yeah, so we can do return object dot keys of grouped expenses. We want to map them out and create the day is going to be the key and the expenses is going to be the grouped expenses for that key. So day is the key, expenses is the array. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, we don't need to change the way we group them. We can still keep them like this, but then the thing that we return is going to have this format. All right, there we go. So it's safe to say that we're gonna delete these groups and just pass grouped expenses. So we got day in an array of expenses. All right, there's an expenses group. They expense. Oh, there's a total. All right, we didn't see that. So grouped expenses. This is going to return grouped expense group. Expenses group, yeah, an array of them. So we also need to include a total. And we can reduce that. Start off with 0 and add the amount. And what is the ID is missing? What do you mean ID is missing? We are returning expenses group. Okay, we got an expense here, but you know what? It's gonna be the modal expenses, not the type. And now we're good. Okay, so this worked. Grouped expenses, we got them added here, and it's not complaining, which is cool, which is what we want. How's the package? Still building. All right, so we have the groups here. There's obviously errors like the ID, which is underscore ID, and to hex if we actually try to use it as a key. And this expense on the expense row is the type. And we want to do the modal. So this is okay now. This is okay as well. Note, amount, category. This is good. Okay. Goods. Reports is breaking. What's that? Ah, yeah. Because of the groups. Let's fix it here as well. So we want to get all of the expenses. Use query. We don't have the use query, right? We got nothing basically. So realm context from jump once, yell realm. And then we can do use query. Expense from the modal. There's our expense. We pretty much need to do the same thing as the expenses screen. We got the expenses, we got the filtered one and the grouped one. And I believe you can like create a little utility for that. That uses these two, grouped expenses and filter expenses. Basically just like get grouped expenses. We're gonna get the expenses array and that's it. Oh, there's the recurrence. All right, recurrence. There we go. And we just want to return that. Of course, save that. I told you to save it. There we go. So remove this. Get grouped expenses, and the recurrence. There we go. And we are going to import this one instead of these two. Yes, export it. Did I forget to export that? Yeah. All right, so array from expenses hopefully works. Oh, there we go. Can we pass it on like this? Probably not. Yeah. So we'll just use array from. There are the grouped expenses here. So we can go to the report screen and pretty much do the same thing below the recurrence. So we obtain the recurrence first. Import that from the utilities. And there we go. We have the grouped expenses here, which means we can go ahead. I mean, we are going to keep filtering them based on, based on the period, I think. Actually, no, it's going to reflect on that. So we just need to pass the grouped expenses here in the charts. Oh, wait a minute. This is the place where we also need to expose the expenses is just an array of the modals. We don't have the grouped here. All right, so we're not gonna be doing the grouped expenses here. Filter expenses in period. We basically wanna deconstruct this. We have the period index. Here's the report screen. We have the start and end period label. Okay. So instead of using the grouped expense, we just want to filter the expenses within that period. So just do this instead. We had the expenses array, we have the period, and we also want to do the page as well, and that's why we need to put this here. Yeah, the range, basically the period index is the page, so we'll use page for that. And now we have the grouped expenses, which are basically filtered expenses, because these are just array. This is just an array. All right, so what are we working with here? This is a modal. Okay, and in order to make it work, these expenses should also be from models. For every chart, models. Oh man, this is a group. All right, we'll create the group. Yeah. So this is it, group expenses by day. Yeah, we just need to pass the, yeah, filtered expenses and group expenses by day. We don't need the recurrence. And now use this group to actually render the expense list. There we go. Okay. Okay, we pretty much have a lot of the stuff, right? And if we have the filtered expenses, that means we can also calculate the average. This is the total. Yeah, let's actually do that. It's gonna be pretty straightforward, right? So total for period is going to be the filtered expenses reduce. There we go. Start off with 0. That's it. And we also want to do average for periods. We have the total, but should we have grouped expenses dot length? Is that what we want? No, we actually want the filtered expenses dot length. That is the average. So we're gonna go and add the total for period here to fixed 2. That's all right. And then this is the average USD 85. Average for periods. There's that as well. Not sure what's gonna come out, but we'll see. Oh man, this is still taking so long. All right, so what if we did Expo install Realm and Realm React? What if Expo handled that? Are we gonna see different results if Expo handle that? But I don't think so, because it still uses Yarn under the hood. Still gonna be building fresh packages. There's a date here, and this date, we need to fix this. Number of days in the month based on that date, get full year and get month. So we are going to just pass the start date. Or just start, it will start, yeah. Alright, so we got that fixed as well. Technically, everything should be okay so far. But we can't seem... We're not ready to test it out. Realm is still installing. And we are running out of time. You know what? I'm gonna leave this. I'm gonna leave this, and hopefully I'll get it installed, you know, in a reasonable time. I'm going to push these changes. Integrating Realm. Oh, wait a minute. Before we actually do that, I want to get into the types and actually see if we use this anywhere. No. we are ready to delete this file. And then also category, we should not be using it. Oh, category row. Exactly. So modals, and from the category omit the underscore ID. There we go. This makes total sense now. So color and name. All right, so you know what? We are not gonna be using this, so I'm just gonna have color string and name string and like be done with the thing, because this works and this works. Yeah, there we go. So category type is not being used anymore. We only have the expense group and the recurrence. Beautiful. All right, now we can integrating realm. Just integrating realm, that's what we actually did. Hold on, which one is not saved? This one, expenses. This looks okay, so I'll just save that. All right, yeah, this looks good. There we go. Okay, that'll do it. Sweet. All right, so yeah, that's it for today. I'm gonna wait for the realm to finish building, and hopefully it's going to be today or even tomorrow for that matter. But yeah, we got the whole code up in the repo. You can check it out if you want. We are going to continue next week on maybe Tuesday. This time, maybe Tuesday, we'll see. But yeah, keep an eye on my channel if you like my streams, and yeah, see you next week. Thanks for tuning in. Bye bye.